Hmm. He already, what that mean? He already a man. Golly, stop that.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Good morning. Good morning, guys. How's the food? It's good? All right, Jarvis, you did good. You want more soup? And he wore, that's right. Jarvis decided to put some clothes on today because he's going to be presenting. Right. So as you know, I am Antoine Trammell, and I co-lead the Outreach Recruitment Engagement Corps with Dr. Monica Parker. She is doing some grant reviews this morning. She may be over here to join us, and she may not, but she is around, and she's here in spirit. She's watching us, making sure I don't mess up. So as we get started, we always like to give you an overview of dementia and cognitive issues. All right. So I want you to understand that there's a big difference between memory issues and dementia. Right? So recently we revised the Dementia 101 so that hopefully it's a little bit more informative for you. So as you can see, there's a line. Right? Crossing that line to being not dependent or not independent, rather, with your functioning, that's dementia. Otherwise, you can have memory and thinking loss. And dementia itself can have stages, meaning that the degree to which you need help doing things can become worse, right? It may be, oh, I need a little help remembering to pay my bills, to I don't remember how to use spoons and forks. Our goal is to prevent people from getting to dementia. I don't want folks to cross the line. So how do you know if you're at risk for memory loss? We go over this every month. If you're alive, if you have a brain, you are at risk for memory loss. How is dementia diagnosed? By a doctor like myself. Can my PCP, meaning your primary care provider, diagnose dementia? Yes, they can. How do you prevent it? Coming here, taking care of yourself. I'm going to show you a little bit more of some of the things that we've learned that you can do to prevent yourself from getting dementia. And how do you get involved with research? Come here. We'll take care of you. The common question. What is Alzheimer's disease versus dementia? Often in my clinic, I hear people say that their loved one, their grandmother, got dementia and they developed Alzheimer's. No. Alzheimer's is one cause of memory and thinking challenge. That's one cause. It's where a plaque builds up in your brain, and then your brain begins to shrink and it doesn't function properly. Dementia, if you think back to that slide, that's where you cross that red line and you're no longer independent. Many things can lead to dementia. Alzheimer's disease happens to be one of the most common. But as you can see here, vascular disease, that's high blood pressure, that's diabetes, that's high cholesterol. And there are other conditions, dementia with Lewy bodies, Parkinson's. All of those can lead to memory loss and then dementia. Other factors also can affect your memory. Depression, the medications you take. So for all of you who are, let me turn my phone off, I apologize. So for all of you who are here getting your medications reviewed, that's important information because we're arming you with knowledge that you can use to take care of yourself so that you can advocate for your well-being.
Coffee today.
What are some of the things that we have learned that can help people age successfully?
Was the milk one up or there?
So a super ager or a successful ager is someone who is 80 years or older, but their memory, if they take a test, like our cognitive test, is similar to someone who is 50. What do we know? Well, research has told us a few things. That a majority of them retire later in life at nearly age 70. Almost 90% are still physically active. And almost 1 in 5 continue to work after they retire. So if you work, exercise your brain, exercise your body, you can do better as you age. If you eat well, which is something that Jarvis is going to talk about today, you will live well, you will be well. If you get good sleep, your brain will do better as you age. Why? With Alzheimer's disease, the plaque that I mentioned, it gets cleared when you sleep. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you're hurting yourself as you get older. Social interaction is important. You're doing that right now. And I'm talking about meaningful, positive social interaction. What people who are 80 and older have said, the way they express it is, I have trusting relationships. I know that I can depend on my friends and they can depend on me. Not a bunch of arguing and whatnot. If you go to the family reunion and folks arguing and fighting, you know what? Let that go. That's stress. Move on. Mood, depression, and anxiety. That can lead to memory issues. If it's not treated, dementia. We don't want that. Because most of the research that we know, most of the data comes from well-to-do, non-Hispanic white populations. We also want to know how to prevent disease in everyone else, okay? So this is research that me, Dr. Parker, did from people across every Alzheimer's center in the country, including this one. We looked at Black Americans and we asked, what are some factors, what are behaviors that are associated with Black Americans who are 80 and older and their memory is good? Well, here's what we found. So the blue group, those are the super agers. They're 80 and older, their memory is like someone who's 50. Then you have folks, the darker blue, who are just normal. They have normal memory, but they're still 80, which is good. Then you have folks who are impaired, meaning they're not good. There's no difference in high blood pressure and diabetes and high cholesterol. The people who are superagers and who were normal had less depression, so they took care of it, and they did not drink as much. So the fact that there's no difference in disease should be very telling. The difference is how they take care of the disease. They take medications versus the people who are impaired being given a medication. That makes sense. If you take care of yourself, if you take care of your body, it will take care of you. And that can be the difference between, well, just put it bluntly, wiping your own ass when you're older. All right? That's some of the things, that's a small thing that we don't really think about, but it's important. In 5, 10, 20, 30 years, I plan for one of these two hands will handle that business. I don't want anyone else doing that for me. Now, we think independence is I can drive to the grocery store, but it's those small things. That's important. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. That's why signing up for research is important, because it can help us help everyone. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But for now, Jarvis. Oh, there you are. You're hiding.
Hiding in plain sight.
I want you to give this young man your undivided attention. Jarvis supports our program every month with the delicious food that you eat, and it's healthy. He makes sure that you are eating the best possible food every month when you come here. So, thank you. All right, the last group of people who are doing brown bag reviews, please proceed. Remember, you want to take your medications and not be given your medications. All right, so go learn, go arm yourself with that knowledge.
Is this ready for me? All right, gentlemen, can everybody hear me? Can you guys hear me in the back? I had a lapel on and I want to make sure everybody can hear me. We good? Why y'all look sleepy? It was the grits, wasn't it? Hey, I'm looking out there, y'all like, we can hear you. All right, welcome again. I'm Jarvis, or Chef Jarvis. They're working out my PowerPoint slides, but I'm going to jump into a couple of things because I want to turn this off pretty soon. So can everybody see this bag that I'm holding up here? Everybody see this? What do you think this is? I hear fat, I hear grease, I heard butter over here. All of those are essentially correct. It is oil in the form of butter. Butter is made up of three things. This is just one presentation. I'm just kind of getting out of the way as they get that together. Butter is made up, thank you. Butter is made up of three components, all right? First one is fat. The second one is lecithin, or the proteins that are in there, and the third one is water, right? So if you put butter on the pan, or butter in the pan, and you see it start to steam, the water is leaving the pan, and this is what's left, the fat, all right? I'm gonna come back to that later, but I wanna turn this off, so I want you guys to see this in its melted state, all right? All right, so today we're gonna be talking about food as medicine. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. We've heard that already, right? It was not confirmed that Hippocrates actually said that, but he gets credited for it. But I still like it, so I threw it up there, okay? Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Just by the amount of people that told me I look nice in this suit, I can tell that I don't wear suits enough. So I predicted that. So I put my credentials up there so you see all the degrees I have. I'm not just a guy that cooks, all right? So those are a couple of plaques that I have on my wall. Look at that guy, all right? You said, who was that? Quick note, my previous picture, I was bald, and Crystal said, we ain't putting that up there. So I went and did a photo shoot just for this photo, and there it is. All right, so let's jump into it. Webster's definition of food. Food is a substance that provides nourishment to living organisms. That's what I want us to focus on, right? You can take a picture of this. We'll send you the slides afterwards. Food, that's the definition. A substance that provides nourishment to living organisms. Medicine is a substance or preparation used in treating disease. Does everybody see the difference between the two? All right, one nourishes, one treats. I want you to look at the top diseases in the African American community. I really want you to focus on that. Those are the top, I did the top 10, but I circled the ones that have something to do with food today, all right? The top diseases in the African American community. Today, I can't touch on all of it because I just don't have the time, but I'm going to talk about a couple of ways that we can curb the effects of some of these diseases. Let's talk about preservatives. Preservatives are things that are added to your food to extend the shelf life, all right? Just by show of hands, how many people remember the milkman? Milkman? God, dog. I ain't never seen a milkman in my life. Woo! Y'all remember the milkman bringing the milk by and you get the little glass container? I know about this because I studied it, but y'all lived it. All right. So you know what killed the milkman? If you had to guess, what killed the milkman? Right here. The refrigerator killed the milkman. So right now there's a big C word and I can't stand it. It's convenience. I cannot stand it. We have convenience stores, convenience shops. Everything has to be convenient for us because we've just gotten away from all of the techniques that you all, I'm talking to you all, used to do when you were younger, a little bit younger than me. Somebody would walk a quarter mile to the end of the road, meet the milkman out there if the terrain was too tumultuous for him to make it up to your door. Somebody would take 25 cents, and back then 25 cents, y'all could get a meal for the day, tomorrow, popsicle, and a movie ticket, right? And y'all take that little quarter up, and the candy lady will give y'all X, Y, and Z, a loaf of bread, you take it back. The milkman killed that, or the refrigeration killed the milkman. Now, instead of milk expiring in 2 days, instead of you getting enough for you and your family to eat today and tomorrow, the expiration, just check it out. The expiration on milk is about a month out, right? You know why? Pasteurization and preservatives, right? It's the totally opposite of convenience. It's different than going back there and milking a cow, taking it into the house and making, your breakfast with that fresh milk versus reaching in the refrigerator and you have milk for the next 2 months because the expiration date's so pushed out. All right. So at the end of a lot of these slides, you're going to see that lightning bolt. Can you guys see that? Give me a yeah. That lightning bolt is my charge to you. So on a couple of these, I'm just going to have a charge to you. That's what I want you guys to jot down. And it's not going to be exactly what you see on there, but jot down how that can affect you in your life. I will check up on this, all right, because I care about everybody in this room. A lot of you guys come in and we've known each other so long. You guys give me hugs at the door. I care about everybody in this room. And I don't want to just talk at you. I want to talk to and with you. But I also want to give you charges because you remember 30% of what I'm going to teach you today. If you write it down and take notes, you remember 45%. If you teach somebody else, you remember 86%. Okay? So I want you to just jot down, this lightning bolt right here says, fresh is great, IQF is just as good or better. Anybody know what IQF stands for? I love the fact that I'm here teaching this to you, right? I love the fact that I can teach you all something. IQF means individually quick frozen. If you pick a bunch of blueberries and throw them in the freezer, it's not going to be the same as if you buy frozen blueberries from the store. The blueberries that you throw in the fridge are going to be coagulated, right? But you freeze them individually, they preserve all of the nutrients in them. They're still just as nutrient dense as when you very first purchased them. So if you get a frozen blueberry and you eat it frozen, i.e. in a smoothie, acai bowl or something, or dessert, something like that, a little whipped cream, it is just as nutritious as the first day that you picked it, all right? I'm going to touch on organic and inorganic a little bit, not now, but I want you to take that charge. Fresh is great, IQF is better. Let's get away from the cans. I didn't see a bunch of smiles on your face. Y'all like them cans? Let's get away from the cans, brothers. How many people take that, or in your life, you don't have to raise your hand, but you have a can of string beans, you pop that can open, you pour the whole thing into the pot and warm it up. I heard an oh yeah over here. You said, preservatives. Because our body doesn't break down preservatives the same way it breaks down nutrients, that stuff is not being processed. Guess where it goes? Right here. Y'all see that, right? I've been working out, so you can't see it that much, but it goes down to your stomach and it goes into your intestines, right? And it just hangs out in your intestines, okay? So we want to stay away from the preservatives and eat as much fresh and or frozen as possible. Remember, convenience is out the window. So you stay healthier by eating fresh over canned, but we also want to do IQF if possible. Speaking of apple juice, let me just look at a couple of these. I'm going to go to the next slide, see. Y'all see that? I know some of y'all heard this before, right? Size matters. See, he got my joke. He got my joke down here. It actually says serving size matters, but that's a good example of why size matters. You understand what I'm saying? So it says serving size matters. How many of you all could drink this entire thing? We got a couple people, right? Don't be shy. This is for y'all. You used to, right? You throw this whole thing back. You think that it's a serving for one. Let me tell you why size matters. American beverages have, on average, 36 grams of sugar. 36 grams of sugar. Mott's apple juice has 28 grams of sugar. Martinelli's 31. And the big winner here, Welch's, 53 grams of sugar per serving. Man, he said, that's why it's so good. Y'all just, God, dog. How many serving sizes do you think this is? 4, 8, 5. I see 2. Serving size for this is 2.5, if I'm not, about 2.5 servings. Okay? How much sugar is in this? 21 grams per serving. So if you drink the whole thing, that's 50 grams of sugar. Do you understand that? Let's look at this right here. The American Heart Association suggests 25 grams a day for women and 36 grams for men. So if you drink just this, the entire day you have all water and just this, you've already exceeded your sugar intake for the day. How does that feel? Just this. Now, we're not talking about the breakfast I made. Just imagine this, because some of you all, this has been or can be your day. You wake up, you grab some sugar, you pour it into your coffee. That's already 7 to 8 grams of sugar watching some of y'all pour back there, right? It's 7 grams of sugar. Let's just tabulate it in our minds, 7 grams of sugar, right? And then maybe Honey Bunches comes in, hey, babe, mwah, she gives you a cup of apple juice. That's 26 grams of sugar. If she gave you 1 serving, you're already at 50, right? Because probably you're going to have 2 servings of apple juice. She's going to pour it in a big cup, right? Right? So you're already over with just breakfast. Let's say you grab a Coke, and then some of you can have these little peppermints in your console. Don't act. You got butterscotch and all types of stuff. You pop a peppermint or a butterscotch. Those are 6 grams of sugar each. You pop a butterscotch, that's half of this container. How many people would open this container of sugar? Pick it up. Everybody hold it up. It's on your table. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I can't mess with you. How many people would take this lid off and toss it back? You see how ridiculous that sounds? But how many people pour this amount of sugar into your coffee? What's the difference? What's the difference? So if you have coffee in one hand and this in the other hand, you might as well sip your coffee and just keep taking little shots of sugar. I know that a lot of what I'm going to say today is funny because I'm just a funny guy. But I did this because I want you guys to envision how much sugar you're taking in. And we ain't even talking about salt yet. I had high blood pressure at the age of 26. Through the roof, headaches, migraines. I couldn't do anything. My migraines were so debilitating. I went to the doctor. He said, yeah, we have to perform an MRI. We don't see any blockages in your blood, X, Y, and Z. But he said, your sodium intake, your blood pressure's through the roof. You want to know why my sodium was through the roof? This has 240 milligrams of sodium. I'm just going to say that and let y'all do your own research. 240 milligrams of sodium. This is good. It's the preservatives. This is good if you are out there sweating 3, 4, 5 hours a day and the salt leaves your body in the form of sweat. If not, you're just consuming. I had been drinking sports drinks ever since I played football at Morehouse. I was drinking sports drinks. And then when I stopped playing football, I kept drinking Gatorade. I kept drinking Powerade, blood pressure through the roof. I stopped drinking. I haven't touched one of those in probably 6, 7 years. I stopped drinking that stuff. My blood pressure every day is amazing. Sometimes it's not blood thinners. Who is that? We recording, right? Sometimes it's not blood pressure medication. Sometimes it's just adjusting your diet. And that is why I'm here, right? So we talked about our serving sizes. We talked about the Heart Association, the Food and Drug Administration. What do you think their recommendation is for sugar intake? A hint, it's up there. They don't have one. They don't have one. You know why? Because anything that you consume that is not a food is a drug. A lot of y'all don't like that. It might not be prescribed, but anything you can get addicted to is a drug, right? It's called a chemical addiction. So when you have a craving for coffee, you're not craving the coffee. You're craving the sugar that you put in the coffee. If I gave you Ecuadorian coffee and Bolivian coffee, you probably couldn't tell the difference. But when I give you coffee with no sugar and coffee with sugar, you can. All right? Same thing with fried foods. Frying foods, you fry foods, it's a chemical. I'm going to go back so y'all don't read this slide. If I told you, hey, we're having Chick-fil-A sandwiches next time, everybody in their mind thinks Chick-fil-A, that's good. Chick-fil-A, okay, cool. They're the healthiest out of all the fast food chains. If you got here and instead of Chick-fil-A, we had boiled chicken, you would be upset. Some of you guys would probably eat it because, it's free. But if it was boiled chicken, you look at it kind of sideways, like, man, I thought you, right? You call the wife, hey, I'm running late. Let's do Chick-fil-A tonight. She's okay. I have it when you get home. You get home and there's some white bread with boiled chicken on it. Come on now. You gonna sleep on the couch. You ain't even going in. Why? Because it's not the chicken that we're craving. You don't crave food. When's the last time you woke up in the middle of the night like, baby, I can't sleep. I want broccoli. It don't happen, do it? You don't drive by and see billboards for carrots. It's all psychological, and that's another thing I'm teaching you. It's all psychological. All right. So this slide, how much sugar is it? Sweet Baby Ray's. Yeah, I hear y'all. Oh, goodness gracious. Please don't take away my Sweet Baby Ray's. Sweet Baby Ray's, look at right here. Serving size, 2 tablespoons. That's a half a rib for some of us. That's enough barbecue sauce to go on a half of a rib. So if you eat 6 ribs, come on now. That's 24 tablespoons of sugar, 36 grams. So in one serving size is 36 grams. So if all day only thing you had was that teaspoon or those 2 tablespoons of sugar, you've maxed out your sugar intake for the day. Yeah, I'm wrecking havoc, right? So just imagine if 2 tablespoons is the portion size that gets you to your daily intake, but 2 tablespoons can fit on a half a rib, and you got 6 ribs on your plate with baked beans with sugar in it, candy yams with sugar in it, macaroni and cheese, salt, not sugar, but salt, right? You're drinking something with this. You probably got a Coke. Just imagine how much sugar you're taking in one day. Come on, I'm talking to y'all. This is why so many of us are on diabetes medication, because we don't understand. It's not that we're not making the decisions. We don't understand how much sugar we're taking in. 2 tables, you might as well take this, and every bite of rib, just take a half a shot of the sugar. It's not me, it's math. That's just the numbers, right? 4 grams of sugar is 1 sugar cube. I meant to get sugar cubes, but I ended up with these, right? So this is the equivalent of 4 sugar cubes in here, right? So 4 grams is 1 sugar cube. So you look at the grams and you do the math, and I'll let you compute how much sugar you're taking in just by having Sweet Baby Ray's on your hamburger, all right? Comfort foods. I saw this in the Q&A that we sent you guys, the questionnaire. Comfort foods. I'm going to make this as short and sweet as I can while still hitting the point. We do not eat comfort foods because they taste good. Y'all are not going to believe me, but I'm promising you. We don't eat comfort foods because they taste good. Why do we eat comfort foods? Look at this picture. We got fried catfish, candied yams, collard greens, mac and cheese. I kind of hid it back there, but we got sweet potato pie, right? How many of us can remember going out to the back, picking our own sweet potatoes, coming in with mom cutting them up, or going to Dairy Queen with Pops, getting ice cream, or making blueberry pie from scratch, putting all the sugar inside of it? We don't eat comfort foods because they taste delicious. We eat comfort foods because they remind us of the experiment or environment that created the psychological addiction, right? I call it the mac and cheese effect. I make some real good mac and cheese. Real good mac and cheese. I'd have been all over the world. I didn't learn how to make mac and cheese from some of the best Michelin star chefs in Ireland, Michelin star chefs in Paris, Michelin star chefs in South Africa. I've been everywhere. But if I don't make mac and cheese the way that your mom made mac and cheese, it ain't going to be the same. It ain't going to be the same, because the mac and cheese is good. If I add crab to almost anything, it's going to be amazing, right? So if I put a little crab topping, beurre blanc on top of the mac and cheese, we can't say it's not good mac and cheese, but when that craving kick in and you start missing your mom, you start missing your dad, you ain't calling me for mac and cheese. You're calling your brother or your sister or whoever in your family makes that mac and cheese. Does that make sense, gentlemen? So when you ask yourself, how do I break away from these psychological addictions or these cravings? It starts at the grocery store. It doesn't start in your house. Some of the questions said, well, I'm living with, my wife and she feed me. Your problem is not getting the food from your wife. Y'all gonna make me. The problem is not getting the food from your wife. The problem is the food coming into your house. All right? What's my charge? Change the grandpa candy ritual. What is a grandpa candy ritual? Because your parents, your grandparents, whoever preceded you created that psychological addiction in you, I'm charging you guys to change the addiction in your kids and your grandkids. So when your grandkids come over, Grandpa, imagine it, Grandpa, and you pick them up, and you're, hey, baby, and they say, oh, Grandpa, can I have a candy? You're causing that problem. You're creating that addiction. Does that make sense? Because when they get to be my age, I'm 39, when they get to be my age and they're stuck on Werther's Originals, it ain't because they taste great. It's because, I remember Grandpa used to give me Werther's Originals every time I came into his house. My sister loved Twizzlers. Back in the day, she smacked a couple packs of Twizzlers, right? But it's not because Twizzlers taste so great. It's because we used to get Twizzlers in elementary school when we were leaving. We get one rope, and she got addicted to it, right? And I'm no different. Reese's peanut butter cups. We used to get the little Reese's. You hear me now? Hey, you hear me? I could smash a fun size pack of the whole thing that you get for Halloween. I could smash one of those in about 30 minutes. The whole pack. I'm talking about the 24 that you pass out to the kids. I'm passing them out to me. I could eat a whole, but why? Because when I was kids, my brother was Butterfinger, my sister was Twizzlers, and I was Reese's peanut butter cups. Okay? All right, change the grandpa ritual. That's what I would like for you guys to take down as your charge. I don't know how much time I got. I really want to hit on this. You say all of it? Good. Perimeter shopping. When you go to the grocery store, this is another form of marketing. It's called psychological marketing. When you walk in a grocery store, just what's the first thing you smell when you go in most grocery stores? The bakery. They don't put the bakery in the back. You walk into the store and you, oh my goodness, that's fresh bread. You might not get fresh bread, but they don't care. Their job is not to make you buy fresh bread. Their job is to make you hungry, which is why everybody is guilty of somebody, hey, can you run to the store and grab some aluminum foil? And you come back with $70 worth of groceries? And no aluminum foil? That's marketing, guys. Even the fresh vegetables, that's marketing. Our brains see food in color before we see it in taste. I'm going to repeat that. Our brains see food in color before we see it in taste, right? So you walk into the market and you see green bell peppers, red bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, zucchini, squash, watermelon. Your brain starts to activate. The fruits and vegetables aren't in the back. They're in the front, on the other side from the pastry shop. Can everybody just turn your phones on silent? Pull your phones out, make sure your phones are on silent. All right. I get distracted easy. I got ADD. So I want to know who's calling y'all. They should be here, but I ain't going to get on that. This is a part of the marketing ploy. They put all the fresh vegetables and fruits at the front of the store. So when you walk in, you're smelling fresh bread, you're seeing all of these beautiful colors, you come in for aluminum foil, you leave with everything that they got, one of everything. But I'm going to teach you a trick. Everything you need, 99% of what you need is on the perimeter of the grocery store. I'm going to say it again, 99% of what you need is on the perimeter of the grocery store. There's a phrase, good food goes bad, bad food stays good. Good food goes bad, bad food stays good. You ever seen a McDonald's French fry 3 years later? You can warm it up and chow down, right? It looked the exact same. What does it have in it? Preservatives, thank you. That thing can last another world war. You come back, it's going to be two things, roaches and fries. If you think it looked like that in the backseat of your car, what does it look like inside of your body? Just think about, I'm just opening y'all brains up to stuff that y'all might not have heard before. Good food goes bad, bad food goes good. Bad food stays good. The federal expiration mandate. You know who regulates expiration dates? Not the FDA. I can promise you that. It ain't the government at all. And these are not bad guesses because that's what I thought. The people that regulate the expiration date are the people who process the food. I'm going to send you all these slides. Research it on your own. So you're telling me that if I make milk, and I know the milk can last 40 days because of what I did, I can put 20 days on there so that you pour the rest down the sink and go buy more? If I know these cookies can last 3 weeks, but I don't sell them in small packs, I only sell them in family packs, and you go buy a family pack of 40 cookies, you eat 12 of them, and then because of the expiration date, you toss them in the trash can and go buy more. You think I'm gonna extend the expiration date? No. What's my number one goal as a business? Sales. And what's closely associated with sales? Marketing. Sales and marketing. just like the Food and Drug Administration. So why don't they govern expiration dates? We ain't gonna get into it, but all right. It's at the manufacturer's discretion and it's all about the money. And now really quickly, there's a difference between expiration date, best if used by, and used by, all right? There is a difference. Expiration typically means the manufacturer says if you use it after this date and you get sick, you can't sue us. That's the expiration date. Best if used by is kind of like what I tell y'all. When you put the food on your plate, it's best if used by in 5 minutes. But the longer it sits on your plate and you talking, oh, hey, and then you go eat your eggs, and you're like, man, these eggs cold. Whose fault is that? That's yours, right? Best if used by. And then best by, they're just saying it'll last 6 weeks, but it's best if you use it by X, Y, and Z. All right? I can't talk about drugs because I didn't go to school for that. But we have somebody to come up and he will talk about drugs. All right? Good question. All right, really quickly. Body temperature. Can you guys see the difference between internal and external body temperature? Everybody see it? Yes, we still awake? What did we say this was? Butter. When you sit down and eat your food and you got lobster and you dip it in the drawn butter, ain't that delicious? Y'all ain't got it. I eat it too, so y'all be truthful. Isn't it delicious? You dip your butter in some, or your lobster in some drawn butter. And what do you have with your lobster? Just shout out some stuff you eat with lobster. Broccoli with butter. All right. Asparagus with butter. Brussels sprouts with butter. Corn on the cob with butter. Baked potato with butter. Mashed potatoes, salt, right? But what do you drink with it? Oh, come on, let me hear it. Let me hear it. I'm not judging you. Ice cold water. I know y'all don't drink no ice cold water, but all right. Coca-Cola, iced tea, ice cold lemonade, right? Beer. I can see it. Don't hide it from me. I drink beer too. I'm not judging you. I'm teaching you. So what happens when you eat all of these steak, you cut that steak up and it's pink in the middle, and oh, this is delicious. And then you drink that ice cold beverage with it. You see it start solidifying on the side of that bag? We're going to leave it in there. I'm going to come to it. I'm going to show it to you at the end of this presentation. Why do you think people in different countries drink tea after they finish eating? Hot tea. What about coffee? Yes. Because if you consuming all of this butter, look, this is scientific. This ain't my opinion. Your external body temperature on average is around 95.4. Inside is 98.6. Butter solidifies at 65 degrees. This is all in Fahrenheit. Ice cold drinks are 32.1. So every time you drink that ice cold drink, the purpose of drinking a cold drink is to cool our body temperature down. But if you're consuming it with the steak, you're going backwards, brother. You're going back. Your metabolism kicks in and it speeds up whenever you drink an ice cold beverage, right? But not enough to burn fat. You understand what I'm saying? Is this starting to make sense? When you eat your steak and all your fatty foods, I'm not judging you for it. But now when I go out to eat and I sit down, my brother-in-law is right over there. He can attest. When I sit down, I don't ask for nothing to drink. Oh, I'm going to bring you some water. I say, don't waste your time. I'm not going to drink it. Room temperature water is better. But that'll be a part 2 of why you shouldn't eat and drink at the same time. All right? That'll be a part 2 if you guys let me come back. So my bulk kind of covers it up. Drink tea with your meals versus soft drinks. That's my charge to you. Teas are not just good because of the temperature that we're discussing. Hot tea, hot tea, hot tea. Drink hot or warm tea with your food in order to help process your food better, all right, versus cold drinks. Now, if you out and about, you taking a walk, you come back from taking a walk, you want to have a cold drink, feel free. But when you're eating and you put a bunch of fat in your body, it has to stay soluble in order for your body to process it. That's how plaque builds up in your arteries. That's how we get high cholesterol, high blood pressure. The fat basically just gets solidified inside of our body and don't move. All right? I'm going to get to your question in 1 second. So now we're talking about digestion. Light activity before, warm beverage tea, stay hydrated, fiber, fruit, probiotics. And we're going to get to some good stuff over here. The doctor at one point told me that meat you should chew 100 times. You should chew meat 100 times. I see the look on y'all face. Y'all like, hell nah. Half of that steak is still moving, and I'm swallowing it. Your body can't break it down if it's still whole. It has to be in small particles in order for it to be broken down, and it's working in overdrive, right? You take a steak, a bite of beef jerky or steak, and you swallow it whole. Your body is working in overdrive. And typically, when do we eat steak? At night, before we go to sleep. We cut that steak up 5 or 6 times while we're having a conversation. We drink a cold beverage and we lay down. And so our body's like, ooh, steak, give me. All right, guys, you're here. We got steak. It's time to process it. Oh, wait, he's going to sleep. Should we work? No, he's going to sleep, so we go to sleep. That's how your body thinks, right? It's still going to process it while you sleep, but at a much slower rate because your metabolism slows down in order to allow you to get good rest. So I got a charge down here. My lightning bolt got cut off, but it says, please consult with your physician. Can everybody see that? Please consult with your physician. I want to make sure that's on the record. Please consult with your physician. I am here to tell you what should happen, but your physician will tell you what you can do, right? They'll tell you if you can have more sodium than the average person in this room, or if sugar is a problem for you. I don't know your ailments or if you have any, so I'm just giving you blanketed information. And I'm telling you how things work. But please consult with your physician about any dietary changes or exercises. All right, one of the last things I'm going to do, I did a presentation like this. I did a presentation like this at the YMCA. And I had those 3 apple juice brands that we saw earlier. I had bottles of those sitting on all the gentlemen's table. I had 100 men in there. And I told everybody to open up your table's apple juice and pour it into a cup and taste it. The first one was Martinelli's. Yeah, what do you guys think? Oh, yeah, this reminds me of Christmas time. Y'all know the Martinelli's sparkling apple cider in a green bottle, and the kids think they drinking a little something when they pour it in their cup. And I was like, how do you feel? Oh, this is great. This is delicious. This reminds me of, when I was growing up, X, Y, and Z. I said, all right, try the Mott's. They poured the Mott's. Oh, man, this is good apple juice. I like this. And try the third one. Oh, yeah, this is tasty. I like that. That's some good apple juice. You know what happened? I stood right in front of them the same way I'm standing right in front of y'all. And I took apples and I put them into this juicer. Same juicer. I've had this juicer. This is not for them because they don't pay me. But I've had this same Breville juicer for 14 years. I stood right in front of those gentlemen and I put fresh apples, cut them in everything. I put them in the juicer and I passed the juice out. You want to know how many of the 100 said it wasn't real apple juice? I give you a hint. It's more than half. Man, I looked at them, brother. They was like, no, hey, chef, this can't be. I said, but it can be. I'm doing it right in front of you. This ain't a magic trick. I'm putting the apples in the machine, and out came apple juice, right? So you guys are going to be my guinea pigs. Y'all okay with that? Y'all picked the seed. It ain't my fault. I'm going to let these brothers taste this apple juice, and I just want y'all to give y'all honest opinion and feedback. I had some cups up here. Which one of y'all took a cup? Can somebody grab me some cups from the coffee station over there? And so this is the overall charge that I want you all to do. All right, we're gonna jump up for some Q&A, but this is the overall charge that I want you all to do. Start looking at food labels. Okay, I want you to start looking at food labels for 2 reasons. One, to see the amount of sugar and sodium, because those are some of the top 2 problems in our community, right? The sugar and sodium. The second thing I want you to look at is the serving size. A lot of the questions were like, how do I get off of this? How do I stop doing this? How do I prevent this? It'll be answered in those 2. Look at the label and only consume your serving size. There's nothing wrong with having a glass of juice, but having 4.5 servings, that's a problem. You understand? All right, so we're gonna do Q&A. We are going to send them these slides, so you'll have all of this information. But next month when I come, some of y'all already walked up and told me how good the scrub was. Next month when y'all come back, I would love for you guys to tell me, Chef, guess what? I used to drink 3 sodas a day. Now I cut back down to 1 because the sugar content is X, Y, and Z. I would love that information, brothers. That let me know that I did something for you all. All right? So I'm going to pour this juice in you all's cup, and we're going to proceed with the next part of our presentation. But I just want you all to give honest opinion. Go ahead and taste it if I already put it in front of you. This is fresh pressed green apple juice. How much added sugar did I put in here? 0. 0. Did you get one? Perfect. All right, how does it taste? Good, great, right? We don't need the stuff. I think this one right here, how many of y'all drink this? Seen it before? You consume it? Don't be shy. I used to drink this. This is 3 servings right here. It says it on there. I circled it. 3 servings. Total sugar is 26 grams of sugar. Guess how much added sugar is in there? 23 grams. Just read your labels. All right, I think we're good.
Awesome, Jarvis. All right, gentlemen, for our Q&A, we have Mr. Gregory Lafortune, a registered dietitian. So listen, when you come here, we feed your mind, we feed your body. The goal is to improve your health literacy. What is that? Personal health literacy is the degree to which you can find, understand, and use information and services to do what? Make health-related decisions for yourself and others. Then there's organizational health literacy. So as an organization, we're helping you on a personal level. That's the degree to which an organization can enable you to find, understand, and use information and services to make health-related decisions for yourself and others. I want you to think about everything that you've heard here today. We are improving your health literacy. I told you we're arming you with knowledge. That being the case, for the Q&A session, this is your chance to interact with an expert. Maximize engagement. We want you to address these gentlemen. Make sure that your questions are accurate, that they're succinct, because we want to make sure that you are well informed. 1 question per person, and please keep it short and on point because we want everyone here to ask a question and improve their health literacy. Gentlemen?
I'd like to first introduce myself. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gregory Lafortune, registered dietitian. I've also been a consultant here at the Emory CEP Cognitive Empowerment Program, providing nutrition education on Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm also a dietitian that specializes in men's health, so this is my forte. I'm really excited to hear about the questions that you have regarding nutrition, chronic disease, anything that men deal with when it comes down to their nutrition needs, and looking forward to getting into some discussion today. Should I call?
So we have a mic rotating. Just raise your hand and he's going to come to you. Please don't jump up and start screaming without a mic. Y'all know how I feel about that, all right? So he's coming around with the mic.
Right over here first.
Gregory.
My question is about the frequency of eating. If you're chasing optimal health, what is the, we all breakfast, lunch, dinner, but what would you comment on relative to the frequency of eating? And does that have a cultural dimension? Black folks, white folks, that kind of thing.
It's a great question. As far as the frequency of eating and does that have a cultural impact or dimension? What I would say when it comes down to frequency, it's very tailored and individual to everyone. All right. If you are somebody, let's take the average healthy male, for example, right? One of the biggest things people ask me all the time, Greg, how can I optimize my testosterone? And I say, well, energy availability is one of the best ways to maintain your testosterone. What does that mean? That means that the amount of energy that you consume, and if you have adequate energy in your body, then your body will be able to optimize its testosterone levels. So with that being said, 3 meals is a standard way to eat, right? Depending on the individual. Let's say you are someone who is extremely active, you do a lot around the house, you go to work. It's very important for you to eat quite frequently so that you don't burn out or run out of energy, so that you can perform those tasks, and also too that your body can have enough food. I would say that on average, the body is craving some form of nutrition on an every 3-ish hour basis. And that's where you see people who eat 4 to 5 hours between meals and maybe like that midpoint snack. right? That's kind of where that's incorporated. It's really individual. I can't give you one for sure answer, but yes, consuming an adequate calories throughout the day is optimal for your energy levels, your testosterone levels, and also to your performance as well.
Right here.
Good morning. My question is, there was no mention of sugar substitute and salt substitute. Are they recommended or not? And just want to get your thoughts about that.
Sugar substitutes, really briefly, were manufactured and created to be a substitute or alternative for people with diabetes. Now, in the interim, yes, if you consume a sweet and low or a stevia or something like that, it may not impact your blood sugar. But what research shows is that long-term consumption of these things can be problematic. Not only can it trigger the brain to be confused, think about it. You're consuming something that's extremely sweet in flavor, but that does not have the calories as actual sugar. So the brain perceives it as something that you're consuming with calories in it. And it's just like, okay, I taste something sweet. There's no calories in this. So what does it do? It makes you crave more sweets sometimes. And people that have high intakes of these sugar substitutes, oftentimes later down the road, have really bad issues when it comes down to their brain health, when it comes down to their heart health, and even worsening the very same thing that they were trying to prevent. So no, I do not recommend them. Maybe here and there, if you know what, for example, I have type 1 diabetes, and I know for a fact if my sugar is high, I'm not going to touch anything that has sugar in it, whether it's natural sugar or added sugar. Artificial sugar, if water is not available and that's the only beverage and I'm really thirsty, okay, I might go for that because I know I need to stay hydrated. But overall, in my every single day lifestyle, it's something that I'm not really recommending. Same concept. It's mimicking something that's not really there, right? So think of something like it's not a true nutrient, so the body cannot manufacture it, the body cannot process it and metabolize it, which causes issues when it comes down to your overall gut health, when it comes down to your life. Your gut is accumulating this foreign substance that it cannot properly metabolize because it's not a real nutrient. It just does something to your taste receptors to make you feel like it is.
So I'm gonna jump in and tag team on Gregory with that. So that's a very good question. The reason I didn't mention it was for the reasons that he just stated. But for salt, one thing I do is add acid, okay? Because the main reasons for salt is to dehydrate, to preserve, and to enhance the flavor profile. So if I put cumin, Old Bay leaves, garlic, and cinnamon into something, and I want it to taste more like those ingredients, I can either add salt or I can add more of those ingredients. Does that make sense? Salt has a distinct flavor, but salt is just so bad for people that I typically don't put any salt in most of the food that you all consume. But acid, white wine, if you all partake wine, white wine is a form of acid. Apple cider vinegar would also enhance the flavors. You just have to train your brain into appreciating the new version of what you're eating, right? If you're used to having peach cobbler and they got 7 cups of sugar in a batch, you have to train your brain to like a peach when it comes off the tree. Because if you like a peach when it comes off the tree and you put it into, your peach cobbler with 1/3 of the amount of sugar, your brain's gonna be like, oh, this ain't sweet enough. But you gotta train your brain. Make sense?
Got one right here.
Yes. Is it ever safe once you start blood pressure medication to come off of it? In that they say you can control your medication or you can control your high blood based on what you consume, your diet.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of conflicting. Doctors say once you start, they don't want to take you off of it.
Yeah, I will say that once somebody, as you become older and older, and as your body goes through more natural aging, it becomes harder to manage things solely by lifestyle. But I will say, what I will also say is that's not a cop-out, right? And I say the same thing for people taking diabetes medications. It's really important to consider your lifestyle. Many doctors are prescribing medications because they cannot be sure if you will maintain a proper lifestyle. And that's an issue, right? If it's almost like an insurance policy to give me this medication, knowing that I'm not going to do the work in my nutrition and in my physical activity. So to keep you safe, I'm going to give you this medication. That should raise a red flag, right? There are certain people that might have genetically induced hypercholesterolemia or high cholesterol or high blood pressure. Those people might be a different scenario, different case. At baseline, their levels are already high. But for the average person who can manage by lifestyle, by nutrition, by physical activity, that should be your first line of defense without a question.
Mr. Lafortune is correct. So reducing your salt and losing weight will affect your blood pressure. For every roughly 1 to 2 kilograms of weight that you use, the top number can drop, meaning blood pressure, by 5. Bottom number can go down by 2. But if you're still not hitting your target, it's more important to take the medication and keep your blood pressure at a good goal. Here's what's happening. That blood pressure is pounding your brain. And if you want to be in the category of people who takes their medications instead of being given a medication, if you want to wipe your own butt, then it's important to take a medication as you need. The lifestyle component is always critical. That is the foundation. Living your best life is always the foundation of good health. But there are genetic causes. There are other things that can cause your cholesterol and blood pressure to go up. So it should not even be a question. Should I eat right? Should I exercise? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
Yeah, and I love that response. I say the same thing for people who are taking diabetes medications, right? A lot of people talk to me and they say, Greg, I want to stop taking this insulin. I don't need this. And I'm just like, do you have type 1 diabetes? They're just like, yeah. I'm just like, everybody in this world needs insulin. And the person with type 1 doesn't produce insulin naturally. So taking insulin exogenously is not a drug per se, in a sense that you're doing something wrong per se, right? So yes, I'm 100% in agreement. You should take your medication, but your goal should be to optimize your lifestyle, right? And in the case where you need medication, right, for people with high cholesterol who might have diabetes, you're at increased risk of mortality and a lot of other things. So yes, you should manage these things with medication, but your lifestyle should be the prime way that you're fighting disease.
Got one right here.
Good afternoon. Thank
Good
you
afternoon.
for coming today. For a person who wants to improve their diet, and you see a lot of people in here, all the same middle-aged Black men, and you said you dealt with men and diets. How will we find a dietitian who specializes like you, make an appointment? And the second part is, if you want to get off your meds, could we see somebody like you and say, hey, my lifestyle is improved, my numbers are good, I would like to see if my lifestyle changed, I can get off of the drugs, and that is me, my lifestyle, not the drugs that's keeping the numbers good. Thank you.
Look, when it comes to getting off of medication, I don't know if you check labs. Do you
I
check
personally, I
labs?
analyze and assess and find how nutrients can impact, but I don't check labs
Okay,
in and of itself.
so I don't know if Mr. Lafortune checks cholesterol and can assess the risk of a heart attack or a stroke based upon that. I would be very careful to make sure that you are coming off of a medication with a health professional, meaning a clinician and a dietitian, right? We all work together.
Yes, sir. I'm going to answer your question. So part of what got me in front of you as someone who decided to devote his career to men's health, in my career field as a dietitian, about 90% of practicing dietitians are women. 3% of all practicing dietitians are Black, and less than 1% of that 3%, of that 100%, look like me. There has not been a single dietitian who says, you know what, I'm going to work with urologists, I'm going to work with men's health clinics, I'm going to work with the men's health space to optimize diet, because we are the ones suffering at the highest rates of heart disease, prostate cancer, and a whole host of other things. This is not to toot my own horn, but what I am trying to say to you is that I'll share my contact information with you, because I know for a fact there's not another person like me servicing people like us. Because you know what they say about us? We're hard to work with, right? I work with a lot of women who say, Greg, I have clients to send to you because I just don't know how to talk to them. Who do they look like? Me. And I'm just like, am I an alien or something? Like, What's so hard to, hard about talking with me? So yes, I can share my information with you. Oftentimes your insurance does cover nutrition visits with a dietitian. How many of you knew that? Okay, if you have insurance, they cover preventative health, and oftentimes they cover diagnosis-related health conditions at a fraction of the cost, and they cover like 80%, responsible for 20% or something like that. So working with somebody like me, I'll be able to verify your benefits, see what you qualify for in order to get you some nutrition visits if you are interested.
Okay, we got one right here.
Thank you. Chef, good presentation. And Greg, speak a little to the consumption of water.
Yeah.
Sometimes I personally may not drink water for a whole day.
Yeah.
I'll drink other stuff.
So
Some of the bad stuff. So
some of the bad stuff.
speak to the consumption of water. How important is that to the body and your diet?
So I'm going to say one thing and I'll pass it to Greg. A lot of us consume other stuff besides water, right? The only way you can hydrate yourself is water, right? The problem is not that we drink other things besides water because it all has water in it. The problem is if I want to drink 8 glasses of water and instead I drink 8 glasses of this, based on that rubric, where am I at with my sodium intake? Where am I at with my sugar intake? Oh, I'm not even on the slide. I'm way over, right? So the problem doesn't become how much of non-water do you drink. The problem is when you're drinking orange juice, apple juice, coffee, tea, all these other items, you're still consuming water because they have water in them, but what's with the water sends you over your other levels.
And that's true. What I will also add is that sometimes, not even sometimes, these high sugar beverages dehydrate us.
Yes.
Right. Let's say, for example, somebody with diabetes drinks one of these, their blood sugar is going through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of your blood sugar going through the roof, you're starting to pee more. And as you pee more, you get more dehydrated. And that's actually one of the telltale signs of someone who is developing a diagnosis of diabetes. That's 2 of the main common symptoms of diabetes: constant urination and frequent hunger, frequent thirst.
Mm-hmm.
Because that cycle, you're consuming more sugar, you're peeing it out, you're getting more dehydrated. You're drinking more sugar, peeing it out, getting more dehydrated. So water is the prime way for our bodies to stay hydrated in any single case. And I will share this one thing. The most important thing that you can do walking away from today is to consume less sugar and drink more water.
Mm-hmm.
I want you all to walk away with that today. I spoke to somebody who decided not to change anything that I recommended that they change. They said, Greg, the only thing I'm going to do that you said was just drink more water. That person came to me 2 months later, and I'm not hyperbolizing this. That person came back to me 2 months later, blood pressure way down, and had lost 15 pounds at that point, just by switching to water. This person was drinking all of the sweetened beverages, and we do not understand how much sugar we are drinking because it's so second nature to us. But if we can cut down our calorie consumption, mainly from sugar, from sugary beverages, and focus on water, which is truly the hydrating source of life, then health outcomes will start coming up and we'll start feeling better. I promise you.
Mr. Lafortune, can you quantify that water? Because
Yes.
that is a common question
Yes.
that people have, because you can drink too much water, right? So
Yeah,
you gotta
so-
have the right.
In general, what's recommended, unless you have CHF, which is congestive heart failure, we should aim for half of our body weight in ounces of water. I know that sounds complicated. If you want to get started, on average, 64 ounces, which is half a gallon, is a great place to get started. If we can commit to 64 gallons, I'm sorry,
A gallon.
Sorry.
In the hospital.
Sorry. Y'all listening, y'all paying attention, I like it. If we can commit to 8 cups of water a day, right? Earlier, Chef Jarvis talked about serving sizes. Your standard serving size of any beverage, depending on whatever nutrition panel, is gonna be 8 ounces, okay? In some beverages, it might be 12. But on average, 8 ounces is 1 serving of water. There's 2.5, 8 ounces in here, okay? So if we could take this, convert this to water, and drink like 4 of these a day of water, then we're on our way.
And one more thing really quick. When you all do your urine test, you do a urine analysis and you pee into the cup, some of y'all urine look like apple juice, some look like coffee. You are not drinking enough water. Whenever you go into the restroom, on the back of the wall, if you notice, they'll have a little chart that shows you what color your urine is supposed to be. But that's the standard. And when we urinate into the toilet, it's an illusion because it's diluted with the water inside of the bowl, right? So my doctor told me every 6 months, just grab a designated disposable cup, urinate in the restroom at your home to see what color your urine is actually, the color your urine is. And it'll tell you if you're dehydrated, all right?
We're going to do just a few more questions.
So we have, what color should it be? You see the gentleman's shirt back there? Should be a little lighter than his shirt. All right, a little lighter than his shirt.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't have to be clear. Clear might be a sign of overhydration, but yes,
Yeah.
totally agree. A little bit lighter than that, the shirt color right there.
Yeah, can you all talk about, because I've cut out the Welch's, the Mott's, all that stuff, but I do still like to make fruit smoothies or juice, use a juicer. What is, too much? Because I'm still getting natural sugars, so I don't want to overdo it. Is that like 1 a day of a fruit smoothie? I drink, again, bananas, mango, strawberries, the sort of thing I do. And then secondarily, does it really, someone told me it removes some of the nutrients that if you just ate the bananas or just ate, the mango directly. So can you just talk about that?
Yes, when it comes down to it, so earlier Chef Jarvis gave the recommendation, I think it was 36 grams of sugar that the American Heart Association recommends. This is particular for added sugar, okay? It's very important to distinguish natural sugars versus added sugars. Not because they do anything differently to the body, but because it amounts for the total consumption of sugar. So let's say, for example, I eat an apple. This contains about 15 grams, maybe about 20 grams of sugar. This is a big apple, right? This is about 20 grams of sugar. This is a natural sugar that doesn't count towards that total recommendation by the American Heart Association. Now, what's also in this is a little bit of fiber, a little bit of vitamin A, a little vitamins and minerals, etc. Now, if I drink the same 20 grams of sugar from this beverage, it's not coming with those additional nutrients that the apple comes with. So that's why I prefer people to eat the apple rather than drink the apple juice. Now, of course, if your apples are going bad and you have a taste for fresh apple juice, go ahead, pull out the juicer. That's perfectly fine. But the nutrients in the apple in and of itself will help maintain and control your blood sugar a lot better than drinking the juice. Okay, that's one. Smoothies. Smoothies are perfectly fine. I actually prefer smoothies over drinking, over juicing, simply because all of the vitamins, you're drinking that in the smoothie, okay? You're drinking that in the smoothie. So these apple sheds, which mainly consist of the fiber in that apple, you'll be throwing that out. But with the smoothie, you'll be drinking that, right? So yes, it is a little bit better to drink the smoothie. There's a whole lot that I can talk about, what to add in the smoothie, adding fiber, adding protein to help not just get sugar, get some additional nutrients in your smoothie. But yeah, drinking a smoothie is perfectly fine. There's not really you should drink this amount per day. All of that is very individualized.
What if you put Everclear in the smoothie?
If I put Everclear in the smoothie, it's not a smoothie anymore.
Worse alcohol, Everclear.
And I'll just share this. For men, if we're talking about alcohol for men's health, one of the biggest hoaxes is that alcohol is masculine. That is one of the biggest lies that I hear all the time. As a matter of fact, the recommendation for alcohol is less than 2 drinks a day for men. And I don't even know why that's a recommendation. I feel like that recommendation was given just to not hurt our feelings. If we're being quite honest, alcohol and men's health do not mix. Once in a while, celebratory, cool, but some of us who are purchasing these things, bringing them in the home, drinking them frequently, our testosterone levels are affected, our muscle mass is affected, our energy levels are affected. It's tearing our gut lining. It's making it hard for our body to absorb and break down nutrients. Healthy nutrients that come from this apple will be impaired simply because of the alcohol that you consume. So it's not something that I recommend by any stretch, and it's something that we really need to take a look at.
Last question.
Last one? Okay, here we go, right here. Okay.
So the speakers have made some distinctions between natural sugars and processed sugars. Can you kind of speak to the various salts? Because we haven't really heard any distinctions between the salts. So Celtic salt, Himalayan salt, black salt, table salt. Can you speak to those?
The same way that sugar is sugar,
Sodium is sodium.
salt is salt.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, the Himalayan salt might have a tad bit more minerals in it, but it's still going to impact your blood pressure, right? And we always talk about sodium for blood pressure, What about foods that actually help our blood pressure, right? Because I can't only tell you stop eating salt. What do you actually start eating, right? One of the biggest things that you can do is focus on foods that have potassium in it. Potassium tends to draw sodium out of your body and lower your blood pressure. Greg, what has potassium in it? Well, we all know bananas has potassium in it, but I learned that bananas are not the best source of potassium. As a matter of fact, avocados are one of the prime sources of potassium. Also, healthy fats to support our testosterone level. Also, great fats that support our brain health. So, avocados is a great choice. Foods like sweet potatoes have potassium in it, oranges, fruits and vegetables in general, okay, have potassium in them. And that's why they recommend consuming fruits and vegetables, not because they don't like us, but because these foods have potassium in it that can support our blood pressure. So salt is salt, sugar is sugar.
Does Mr. Lewis need a few minutes to set up for the exercise demonstration? If he does, then we'll get a few more questions in while he sets up. Because
And-
I really want gentlemen in the room. I see it in your faces. This is very helpful.
Okay, we got one right here.
So right before he goes, because I do want to talk about replacement, when he was talking about avocados, it triggered a memory of mine when I used to work at Houlihan's and I was in charge of making the soup. At one point, I thought the lid was on the salt and I went to pour it in and all of the salt came funneling into the soup. I went to pour it out and my chef was like, we don't do that. You know what he did? He got some potatoes and avocados, he cut them in half and dropped them into the soup. About an hour later, he took these shriveled up avocados and these brown potatoes out of the soup, and they were just as salty as could be, but the soup was perfect. All right? So when we're talking about potassium or things that are drawing out the salt, I didn't even tie that together until Gregory said it. But that happened to me 2002, working in the kitchen. Those avocados looked like they had been mashed up and they were just as brown, but they had removed all of the salt from the soup.
I'm glad you have that practical application because potatoes and avocados are actually two of the highest sources of potassium. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, sir.
Any potato really. Sweet potato and regular potatoes are really good sources of potassium. Sweet potatoes, pigment-wise, they're orange, which means they have a high vitamin A content, which is good for your eyes, a good antioxidant for your skin, and etc. But both of those are good sources of potassium. White potatoes are not sugar per se. White potatoes convert into sugar in the bloodstream, same way that sweet potatoes convert to sugar in the bloodstream. Sweet potatoes have a little bit more fiber in them, which helps the conversion of that sugar be a little bit slower in the bloodstream. So you won't experience rapid blood sugar spikes with a sweet potato as compared to a white potato, but still both of those will convert into sugar in the bloodstream. That's not a bad thing. Our bodies need sugar, but we don't need to be consuming sugar all the time because we're already getting sugar from the foods that we consume when our body converts them into sugar from the potatoes and some of those starches, which is a whole nother conversation.
So we got this last question.
Yeah, a real quick question on fast.
Two more while we get the table down.
Okay, yeah, quick question on fasting. Between intermediate fasting or fasting for maybe a few days, what kind of effect, good or bad, that may have on your body?
I'm not a big fan of fasting, to be honest with you, and it's so individualized, it depends. I speak to people who operate on discipline and who are just like, Greg, if I fast, that'll be better for me because I crave food when I get to work around this time and I want to stay away from it. I'm just like, all right, cool. But in general, again, what that can put us at risk for is low energy availability for our bodies to process, to make testosterone, and to keep us energized. So in some cases, yes, it could be beneficial. In other cases, I don't always recommend it. For somebody who is highly athletic, highly mobile, always moving, I don't always recommend fasting because some people don't do it right? But for somebody else who might be a little bit more sedentary and, might consume a better combination of nutrients at a certain time because just their schedule or whatever, I might recommend it. So it just really depends. But it's not an end all be all. When it comes down to weight loss, fasting versus just eating less calories, there's no difference between the two. If you eat less calories than you burn, you'll lose weight, whether you're fasting or not. So it just depends, really.
And so just to piggyback off of that really quick, I lost 12 pounds in the last 3 weeks. I don't know if you guys can tell. I haven't worn this suit since 2022. Okay? How do I do it? I eat one meal a day. And somebody else talked about the frequency of eating. I have a concept, it's called king, prince, pauper. In the morning, I eat the biggest meal of the day. I eat like a king, right? I eat the right thing, so I might have some fresh pressed juice, scrambled eggs, and some oatmeal in the morning, but that's my biggest meal. I eat like a king. The second one is a prince. During the midday, I might have a salad. It's a healthy salad. It's hearty. I use a vinaigrette, but that's my second largest meal of the day. Last one is a pauper. I eat like I'm poor. I might have some sunflower seeds or some nuts just so I don't go to sleep like with this crazy craving for food. But it tells my brain like I've consumed something and I've been drinking a ton of water.
Yeah.
Okay? So I do agree. It depends on what you're doing. I'm not as mobile as I used to be 10 years ago. I'm a little bit more sedentary, but I have been fasting and these are results. So it's specific to you. Don't go fasting because Chef Jarvis said it, but it's specific to you.
But yeah, that's also why working with a healthcare provider, registered dietitian, can give you some better insights. But even when I hear Chef Jarvis talking, I'm hearing foods that have way less calories in them.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're consuming less calories as a whole, by the end of the day, your body naturally will shed fat and lose weight.
Last one. Yes, last one, for real.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm speaking as a cancer survivor. Both my wife and I. Thank you.
No, you can do a lot. You just have
Both
to
my
learn.
wife and I are cancer survivors, and so we go through the day-to-day maintenance of that. So is there anything in addition that we should be looking in terms of diet in relationship to what you're talking to as well?
Yeah, so when it comes down to our prostate gland, very specific, we as Black men suffer the worst outcomes of prostate cancer. That's a very well-known thing. Some foods that have been clinically shown to really help decrease the size of the prostate, because, and I know Dr. Falconer came a couple months ago to talk about this, there's a difference between prostate cancer and enlarged prostate, right? They can be correlated, but they're not always together. Right? In general, in order for us to protect our prostate gland, as well as just prevent cancer in general, we have to eat more fruits, eat more vegetables. Pumpkin seeds are very good when it comes down to helping that prostate shrink. There's also tomatoes, which is another source of an antioxidant called lycopene that can help with our prostate gland. You also have foods like saw palmetto, which is mainly sold as a capsule, which can help decrease the size of that prostate. So in general, most of the foods associated with improved prostate health and decreased cancer risk are going to fall within the fruit and vegetable category. Diversify them, include them as often as possible. And you don't have to be so specific about this one only, but in general, include them as often as you can. I will say that red meats are high on the list as carcinogenic. Okay, it's so sad because they're so good. Everybody likes a good steak. I heard Chef Jarvis talking about steak earlier today. I was like, that does sound good right now. Right? But depending on how they're cooked as well. 4th of July is one of my days where I talk to guys and I'm just like, look, I know I can't control exactly what you eat, but please don't 4th of July every single weekend. Okay? Because those smoked meats are increasing the overall oxidation that it's not as good for our health in general, right? So red meats in general, limit those, include more like poultry and fatty fishes if we are going to do meats. And that also coincides with the mind diet and what's good for our brain health, because what's good for our brain is also good for our hearts.
Jarvis, Mr. Lafortune, thank you.
I'll be in the back if anybody else has any questions after the event ends today, okay?
Corey, stand up. Mr. Corey Everett is one of our staff members. He's our vascular ultrasound technician. But today is his birthday, and he chose to be here with us.
Happy birthday.
Corey just turned 25. Also want to thank Mr. Julius. So Julius is also one of our coordinators for the Healthy Brain Study. Mr. Lewis, come on down.
Can y'all hear me? While John's getting you ready, one of the things that we're going to be doing for you all for every time we have a men's discussion group is invite you to have a medication discussion or consultation with a pharmacist. I know a couple of months ago we introduced this because we told you that this was a feature. And we are going to have pharmacy students from Mercer here every men's discussion group to go over your medications and help you understand and ask the questions you need to ask them so that you can go back and talk to your doctors about it. The other thing that's really, really important about having them here, and Dr. Liao just explained to me that some people don't have a primary care doctor. And I'm like, well, if you don't have a primary care doctor, how do you have these medicines? So, that's from the standpoint of healthcare and health disparities is sort of like, okay, you're taking a medicine, you don't know why you're taking your medicine, but more importantly, you don't know who that's giving you the medicine. So if you need a primary care doctor, I'm not saying you can come see all of us, but we do have options for you. So the Lee and White Clinic, which is an outpatient part of the Grady Health Clinic, which is where Dr. Trammell sees patients in the Georgia Memory Net. You don't have to see Dr. Trammell, but there are other doctors you can see. If you have limited insurance or have crazy insurance, you can come to Good Samaritan. We can help you find a provider. We just need to know. You need to let us know. This is the safe space. Everybody isn't going to get this, but if you're taking medicines and you don't have a doctor, I just don't understand how that's happening. And you should ask that question. So if you need a doctor, kind of let us know so that we can help you. So, okay, John, I'm gonna let you do your thing. Thank you all for coming.
I can ask questions. The first thing you should do when you get out of the bed to wake that body up. So we're gonna. I believe in through the nose and out the mouth. I believe in breathing in. And you saw the oxygen get to your feet. I go through your nose and back out your mouth. Back up straight. Inhale. Exhale. Hands. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Down, hang arms. Up slowly. Right. Up slowly. Down. Up. Point. Flex. Point. Flex. Reach. Point. Flex. Point. Raise up on the toes. Left to right for the ankles. Up and down. Achilles, calves. Good. Knee. Quad, stretch, hamstrings, lower back. In, outer quad. So out, inner quad. Down, release. Straight ahead, upper quad, stretch it down. Turn in, outer quad. straight. I'm stretching the ankle and the hip flexor inside of your foot. Switch. Side, inside of ankle. Outside of ankles. Groin and hip flexors and down. Lower back. Turn. And then pull the hip as you turn. Switch. Straighten both arms back. Slide forward in the chair. Straighten your arms. And arch like a cat. Back. Arch like a cat. And rotate a cuff, shoulders or lats. And release. Arm, take it back. You don't have space. Then arm, rotate. Take it back to grade school. Rotate it, come. Reverse. Cross. Oh, good job. Now, let's get ready to go. We're going to go to work now. Let me put on my work hat. Here we go. 5. Congratulations. I used to break hands back in the day. Drop it! Drop it! Up! Take down today. Get that upper body. Good shoulder. Good chest. Good shoulder. Good chest. Good shoulder. Watch this. It's good. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's cool. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Thank you so much, John. Hey, thank you all for coming. We appreciate that you did come by today. Give yourself a round of applause. Go ahead. You've done something good for your heart, your mind, your body, and your stomach today. So that's really great. That's really wonderful. Hey, are you interested in becoming part of our research? If you have not scanned this QR code, we invite you to do that now. We invite you to come become part of the brain research we have going on at Emory and the Goizueta Brain Health Institute. We are pleased to offer any number of things. Be sure to take the post-event survey. We're going to send that to you sometime this afternoon. So check your email. The Eventbrite is live right now. If you'd like to join us next month, you could be amongst the first to make your reservations. That'll be September 11th at 10 a.m. Our guest will feature an attorney who can talk to you about what you need to know about end of life and what it means to have something like Alzheimer's or dementia as part of your overall, not just care plan, but your financial and legal plan as well. So that's going to be the discussion for next month. If you join us, that would be wonderful. And again, the QR code. And we, of course, will be sending you slides later today, along with a reminder to join us next month. Also, when you are saving the date for a few things, we're just about 2 months out. 2 months from today, we will be back at the Carter Center for the 29th Brain Health Forum. We have a fantastic lineup about Lewy body disease, frontal temporal dementia, as well as some financial pieces as well. And John, you're going to join us again, aren't you? Yeah, John's going to be there. So we hope to see you there too for another little lower ab workout. And we thank you all so much for coming today. We're going to reset the room. You guys know what to do. Thank you so much for coming.